One of the great abyssal areas that's slated to be wiped out is the Clarion-Clipperton Zone. It's basically between Mexico and Hawaii all the way, about 2 million square miles, and it's been divvied up into various mine sites that are administered by the International Seabed Authority under the Law of the Sea, which the US didn't ratify, so we aren't part of that plan. But China has 5 mine sites. Each mine site is 30,000 square miles. Some private companies have gotten mine sites by teaming up with tiny little Pacific countries and kind of like riding them through the ISA in order to get access to these. But this isn't, Clarion-Clipperton Zone is this region, we don't know anything about it. Every time they go down there, they find like 93% of the specimens that come up are not just new species, but new family, new genera, like new branches on the tree of life. They're finding out now that it's got more biodiversity than a tropical rainforest. And so the mining idea is incredibly ill-conceived, at least at this moment. I think it always will be, but the latest science on the nodules are ancient. It takes them 1 million years to grow a millimeter. And they're not just lumps of metal, they're habitats for microorganisms, and they're created in part by microorganisms. And so they're also like untouched wilderness down there for like hundreds of millions of years. And we now find out that they're actually emitting a charge. They have cobalt, copper, nickel, and manganese. That's their entirety of their, maybe a few trace elements, but no rare earths, no nothing like that. The play for them is the nickel and cobalt, or was. But the thing is, we don't really need more nickel and cobalt. But so the reason why it's a particularly bad idea to disturb this area is because they just found out that the mining companies are always like, this is a car battery in a rock. This is a car battery in a rock, which is very simplistic.
This is green.
Yeah. It turns out that ironically, these things are actually little batteries, and they're emitting 1 volt of charge, and they're splitting water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen, so they are an oxygen source that comes up from the bottom. So just like photosynthesis and chemosynthesis, like we knew there was a top-down source, now we know there's a bottom-up, there's top-down oxygen and bottom-up oxygen, and maybe we shouldn't wreck that just yet. Because one of the big concerns about climate change is that warming water can't actually hold enough oxygen, and where there's no oxygen, mostly in the deep, there's no life, and even deep sea creatures need it, mostly.